This week in the Corequisite, we're going to be taking a look at Microsoft Excel and getting a little bit more familiar with it, so when we come to stats class, a lot of the worksheets are pre-built, but we need to understand some basic functionality. So we are going to be looking here. It says here are the stats, here are the scores for 20 students quiz for week 1. Those are listed here. We are going to want to get this data into Microsoft Excel. So to do that, I'm going to open Microsoft Excel. If you do not have Microsoft Excel on your computer, please refer to the link for how you can download the Office suite on your computer or access Excel via Office 365. Those instructions are available on your Moodle course page. So what we're going to do now is we could take the time to hand type these in, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these data values. We're going to right click and we are going to copy these. Once I have those copied, we're going to go to our Microsoft Excel worksheet and we're going to paste these in here. If you notice, each cell has a reference of a letter and a number. So this one is A1. This cell right here would be D5. And this is how we're going to refer to specific cells, is by a letter and a number. So click into cell A1, and when we right click, we are going to paste. Now, if we paste like this, it's going to it will put it in correctly for us, or we can match the destination format. Either one of these will work for us. We can select the source formatting, okay? So we get that data pasted in. So rather than us have to type all those values in, we can paste those directly in there. Now that we have those in there, one thing I want to show you is that we can change the format of these. So if I click on a specific cell, like 8.5, and I right click, you can see format cells. And since it is a number, it's going to give us a few options. When we click number, it allows us how many decimals do we want here. Do we want 2 decimals, 1 decimal, so on and so forth. If we were working with money, we would want this written as currency. We could select the symbol for dollars or anything else, but I don't work with accounting very often. If it was a date that we were working with, we would want to select dates. Same with times. If we had decimals or percentages, we could write these as percentages. This is bigger. We had 8.5. That would try to represent 850%. We would need to do a little bit of math or put those in as 0.85 before. We could write these as fractions. You see that 8.5 would be represented as 8 1/2. There's scientific notation. If we were working with text, we could do that as well. So we're going to use the number format. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to highlight all of these cells. I'm going to right click. We're going to format them. And I'm going to write them as numbers rounded 2 decimal places. When I click OK, it makes these all have 2 decimal places. Now that we have our numbers in the format we want, we're going to now perform some operations with these, and I'm going to show you a few basic commands or functions that we will work with in Microsoft Excel. The first thing we need to understand about the command function is you begin a command by pressing the equal sign. That's kind of just the way to let Microsoft Excel know we're ready to do a little bit of math, or we're ready to do something with these numbers. The first one we're going to do is, what happens if we just wanted to add these numbers up? Well, the function we use for that is sum. So I press, again, I'm going to click in here, right in the cell. Let's do it in B6. So I click on the B6 cell. We're going to press equals, and then I'm going to type SUM, and you can see as I type, it's going to bring up a list of functions that are included. The first one that we're going to select is sum. So I click sum. And then it's asking us what do we want to take the sum of. So I'm going to click and drag all of our students' test scores, because that's what we're going to attempt to add them up. Once I have those added up, I'm just going to press the Enter key. If you add those scores up, the sum of them is 126.5. You can get a calculator out and double check, but I'm pretty sure this is the case. One thing we want to do as a best practice in Excel is if we do a sum, over to the left I'm going to want to label it. And I'm going to just type in sum. We could write sum of test scores, but let's just write sum here. Okay? Another one, we might want to find the average. So if I want to calculate the average, first of all, I'm going to label it here, and then we'll do the actual calculation in the B7. How we're going to find the average is, again, it's a function, so we're going to start with the equal sign. We're going to type AVERAGE, and you can see it's bringing the average up for us. I'm going to double click that one, and then what do we want to find the average of? All of these test scores. So I highlight these all, and then I press the enter key. The average of these test scores is a 6.33. Couple more. One we're going to learn this week in stats is the mode of a function. The mode of a function is the number that shows up most often. Or the mode of a data set is the number that shows up most often. We calculate a mode in Excel by pressing equal and then MODE. And we're going to select the first one. And we are going to highlight all of our test scores again. And then we're going to press equal. So the number that showed up the most in this data set was 8. You can see when you look up, the number 8 shows up 1, 2, 3 times. Last one we're going to do is median, M-E-D-I-A-N. Median is actually the true middle number. So if you listed these from least to greatest, it's the number that's actually in the middle. How I calculate the median is I'm going to go over to the cell. I'm going to press equal in the B9 cell, and then we're going to type in M-E-D-I, and you can see it's already trying to bring it up for me. So I'm going to double click that. We're going to highlight our data set, and then we're going to press enter, and the median of the data set is 7.25. These are just some basic functionality. A few last things that you can do is if this text is not big enough for you or you wish to zoom in, right here down in the right hand corner is these are going to make these bigger. If you actually want to change the font size, you would alter this up here. We can change this font size. Please know that, okay, so you see if I make this size 18, I can't see the end of the word average. So what I may need to do is I may need to make this a little bit wider. When I go right between the A and B columns, I can click and I can drag this, and I can make that a little wider so I can see the word average. You may not be doing a lot of this, but again, I just wanted to introduce you to the basic functionality of Excel and a few things that we can do with it.